Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.
Production.
7 Mile Radio.
Peace, peace.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tanisha. We're here again on Thursday, 7 o'clock for Tap In Podcast. We have Champ, of course. I say, hey, Champ.
What's up, everybody? This Champ.
All right, and we have Osaranga.
Peace and love, everyone.
Yeah, so we're going to get into a show on shadow work tonight. And I know one thing, this is appropriate because we are going into a full moon tomorrow with the eclipse with Mercury in retrograde. And I know I've been feeling it. It's not really a dumpy feeling. It's just like a feeling of like a plateau feeling, like I'm at a plateau. So I know Osa probably can speak on that a little bit because it's been something I've been seeing a lot even on my own timeline as we start talking about shadow work and when you get in these kind of places and how the moon and the eclipse in Scorpio is really pulling us to transformation at this time.
Scorpio gang gang.
Yeah, right. It's difficult. Osa?
All right, so yes, we have the full moon in Scorpio. It is a lunar eclipse. Eclipses is already known to come in and bring drastic, intense changes. With the full moon, which is illuminating the darkness, bringing things to the light. By being a Scorpio, this is dealing with the underworld. So it's dealing with the when you deal with water signs and the levels of the water, Scorpio deals with the bottom of the ocean. So this is the darker parts of the water that you don't see. Things that, you can't see clearly until you shed light into it. So for us, internally, that means that this is bringing up our shadows. This is bringing up things that we suppress, things that we don't draw too much awareness to, that we may project out to other people, but ultimately bringing it to the surface so that we can transform and bring new beginnings. So this goes hand in hand with the energy of today. I know a lot of people are, kind of feeling very emotional. I've been having a lot of people reach out to me, crying or having realizations about, their parents, things they experienced in their childhood. It's just, it's a heavy energy that's going on. So this is definitely aligning with our topic today of shadow work. And today we have a special guest. So we have Shanova here. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, please?
Peace. My name's Shanova, born and raised in Detroit. A little bit about me. I'm a mycologist, shaman of my tribe, nothing major.
Alrighty. And he is here to shed light from a male's perspective on shadow work. So again, shadow work deals with the repressed or suppressed parts of self. So these again are the parts of ourselves that may make most people feel uncomfortable. Most people may run from their shadows. Again, it's a part of yourself, so it's not as negative as it seems. This is, the part of you that may have experienced, childhood issues, maybe heartbreak, maybe addiction, maybe the loss or grieving of friends, maybe some experience in life that may have made you feel uneasy, and we try to override it and act like it didn't happen, but that energy still leaves a blueprint within us. So when we don't address it, our emotions is like water. So a lot of times it'll come to the surface and we'll push it back down, and then it'll come to the surface more, even harder.
Because I know even with myself, it's like if you're not doing nothing, you just sitting thinking, then something, you'll have a thought like, oh, I remember that time I did this Y and Z and this Y and Z, and then you push it back. You're like, oh, I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to think I did that, or I thought that, or I was about to do that, or that happened to me, right? You push it down. You don't even try to let the thoughts even come all the way out. Like, how did I feel? What happened? Did I process it? You just hurry and push it back down. Like, oh, let me think of something different. And that's becomes in your shadow. And even though you don't acknowledge it, you act on it, right? Your behavior patterns start to act on it because your DNA essentially gets encoded with this those emotions that you refuse to express out, they go internally and then they affect you, and you find yourself in cycles, right? You find yourself
Absolutely.
in a total karmic cycle where you're doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You don't know why you keep going this way when you really want to go that way, but that way mean you have to deal with, the thing that you keep suppressing. Sometimes it's childhood issues, sometimes it's addiction, sometimes it's different type of traumas that you don't really want to acknowledge, and you suppress it, and it really does hinder your growth and your ability to be prosperous.
True, true.
What you think, Champ?
When I look at like shadow works and shadow behavior, it's actually going in depth of yourself. Like going back to puberty. When you actually experience your self-esteem, your experience your insecurities and your securities
Those
and your
disappointments.
confidence. So when you're in your social group, what part about you is being accepted and not accepted? Seeing that we are social beings and we search and we're want to be accepted in our social groups. You know what I'm saying? So we only going to express ourselves to be accepted. So then what do we do about the stuff that we don't express? Because we hold back because it's not being accepted in our social group. So now as we get older, we actually hinder ourselves from growth because we're not actually digging deep down into our person as far as the stuff that we actually express and we let out and stuff that we hold in because we're in fear of a person not accepting us. We're in fear of someone that's attacking us, in fear of someone judging us. And if someone judges us, so they're not accepting us and they're going to talk about us and, so on and so on and so on. So now as we becoming an adult, now we're looking for a purpose in life. You know what I'm saying? So a purpose in life, you have to have a full acceptance of self. And a lot of stuff we don't accept because other people's not accepting. So we actually put in dark corners when we talk about shadows. That'd be the shadow. You know what I'm saying? So how do we actually accept it and actually be able to deliver it? You know what I'm saying? Regardless if somebody's going to accept it or not. It's like, no, this is me. You're going to accept it or not. If you're not going to accept it, you know what I'm saying? Go on about your business because at the end of the day, I enjoy my own company. I enjoy myself.
Yeah, you have to integrate, right? You have to integrate all those parts of yourself.
Right.
So what led you to your journey of shadow work, Shadova?
Well, what actually led me to shadow work is experimenting with the psilocybin, the magic mushroom. Before mushrooms, I didn't know anything about shadow work. Never had even heard of it.
So what kind of things were you experiencing in your life that even, put you there?
Well, just, drug addiction, being depressed and feeling hopelessness and being hypersexual towards women, just
Really?
viewing women as sex objects, and you know what I'm saying, just not having no desire to get to know a woman's mind. I'm just thinking about, you know what I'm saying, how can I clap cheeks,
And you dealt with some drug addiction?
Yeah, drug addiction. With the lean, I was addicted to lean for almost 10 years, you know what I'm saying? And that's another benefit that I got from the mushrooms. It completely rewired my brain in a way to where I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to see it no more, you know what I'm saying? I don't crave it. I don't think about it, and that a lot of it stemmed from my parents, you know what I'm saying? A lot of my personality traits that I disliked or didn't want to acknowledge, it stemmed from my parents and the way I was raised.
See, are you saying it was stuff you saw in your parents that you saw in yourself that you didn't like, or it was just how they treated? Like, what do you mean by that?
My mother used to tell me coming up, like, you got an addictive trait.
So you had addictive personality.
Because, my parents actually met in a treatment center.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So my mother, she used to cuss me out about the drugs. Like, you know what I'm saying? You need to leave that shit alone. What the fuck is your problem? You know what me and your daddy went through. You know what I'm saying? So she just used to be on my head real tough. And I ignored her because I wanted to do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I watched her get high my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Smoking crack. So, it was just like we can inherit demons from our parents.
Absolutely.
And that's what shadow work to me is your inner demons. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, just make it plain, right? It's your
Yeah,
inner
it's
demons.
the inner
we can
demons
fluff it up all we want,
that
but
we
it's your
don't-
inner demons.
Exactly, and we
we
all
all
have
have
them,
'em.
whether
Absolutely.
And we
you want
all
to
have
acknowledge
'em.
or not. We have inner angels and we have inner demons as well. And you know, like I said, we can inherit it from our parents, and also we can inherit these demons from certain behaviors and activities that we engage in.
Yeah, because
You know.
things come with spirits.
So I being hypersexual, it never was something I realized about myself.
That was
you
a
know?
demon.
Yeah, it was just normal because as far as I remember, since I've lost my virginity, I've looked at women the same way. You know what I'm saying? And what really led me to doing the shadow work and discovering this is I'm sure every woman has probably gotten an unsolicited dick pic. You know what I'm saying? I used to hear women talk about it a lot. And I used to send pictures like
to be that guy?
Yes, because
Random?
I
Out
felt
of the
like
blue?
that's
Early in
all
the
I
morning?
had. That's all I had to offer a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's what. So I would send pictures like that, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But a partner of mine, I had sent one to his sister, not thinking he would notice, and she came back. She came back or whatever, and she told her brother what I did, and he confronted me about it, and I'm like, you know, I denied it, like I ain't do no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like hell no, I ain't do that. But when he confronted me, at the time I was on a microdose. You know what I'm saying? So it really made me sit there and ask myself, like, dog, why do I do this shit in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I so hypersexual? Why am I always trying to fuck? You know what I'm saying? So the way I use mushrooms is I take them in high doses in silent darkness, but I set intentions when I do it. So I decided to do a dose. It was maybe about 5 grams or something like that in complete darkness. And one of my intentions was I wanted the mushrooms to show me why I'm like this. Why am I hypersexual? And during that trip, it made me go back in time to a child, and it showed me being exposed to porn at a very young, tender age.
So was that a memory that you had, or was that a repressed
It's something-
memory that you didn't
it's-
even realize was in your database?
It's something that I've repressed, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't think it was important. But when it came up during that trip, it was like, damn, it was like a light bulb moment.
it
went
was
off.
important.
You know what I'm saying? And I, you know, as a kid, we naturally snoop around. At that time, I don't even know what I was looking for. I just wanted to find something.
You're right,
Just
that's how we
snooping
used to
through
do.
my mama's stuff.
I was the
And
worst.
I would find porn. Even snooping through my father things, I would find porn or Playboy magazines.
Yeah, they had the videos, right?
And you know, and the thing about, you know, mushrooms or whatever or shadow work, like it could take you to deeper truths. So I came out of that trip thinking that was the reason why I was hypersexual, because I was exposed to porn at an early age. But you know, it got to it. Now doing shadow work is no right or wrong way. First of all, some people think you gotta meditate, which is a way to do it. But how I did it was literally just sitting with myself, putting all distractions aside. No phone, TV off, no nothing. Just literally sitting there with myself and my thoughts. And while I was doing that one day, another memory came up that I've obviously suppressed. Now, it showed my mother. My mother used to smoke crack, like I said. You know what I'm saying? This is no shade towards her. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
God.
I still love her with all my heart as if she was still here. But a memory came up of my mother playing with herself in front of me. You know what I'm saying? At a tender age, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 years old. And I would ask her, like, Ma, what is you doing? And she would say, I'm exercising. So being a kid, I would lay on the floor and do the same shit, thinking I was exercising. You know what I'm saying? So that was a deeper truth that I was taken to about being hypersexual, and it fucked my head up. Like, it literally fucked me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Like, damn. And when it came up, I remembered every detail of this. Every single detail I remembered. But obviously, this is something that I've suppressed.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't think I had no childhood trauma, but that was traumatic to me to witness my mama doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't blame her because she had her own inner demons as well that she didn't know how to deal with. And after finding this out, I later learned that it was a family member who used to do things to my mother. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, the generational trauma, it ain't no telling where it started at. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, by doing the shadow work, it took me to a deeper truth. I thought it was porn, but yet it took me to this situation about my mother. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so it's like once you uncover one thing, you was able to uncover more things that were even deeper than that.
Exactly.
Like the floodgates just open.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Layers of the onion.
And like I say, I don't know if this gonna take me to an even deeper truth. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still actively doing the work to heal. You know what I'm saying? So this is just where I'm at now with it. You know what I'm saying? And when the crazy part is when it happened, I mentioned it to my older brother who just passed away. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned it to my brother, and he was like, "Bro, it's funny that you say that because I remember Mama doing that shit to me when I was a kid, but I just never mentioned it because I thought I was tripping at that age." You know what I'm saying? So I knew, like, okay, I'm not tripping. I didn't imagine this shit about my mother because my big brother just confirmed the shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and discovering that about myself, it really, like, started changing the way I look at women. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer impressed by a fat ass and some big titties. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a man. I still enjoy the beauty of a woman. But now I'm looking to, you know, learn your mind. You know, how can we help each other? What type of herbs are you into? What can I learn from you? You know what I'm saying? I'm not just thinking, how can I fuck when I meet a woman? You know what I'm saying? But that's how I was my whole life. Just I didn't care. I didn't even want to know your name. I just wanted to fuck. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care what your name was.
so I think that and you spoke about the psilocybin. I think the way
Psilocybin.
psilocybin, the way it's pronounced. And so, scientifically speaking, how that works, they say that it works on your default mode network.
Yep.
And which is, you know, and it is able to rewire those pathways in your brain because you do have it. And your default mode network is what do you think about when you're thinking about nothing? When your brain is on autopilot, where does it go, right? And most people brain go to the same place every time. If you, you know, if you one of those people, you might be sitting there like, oh, if you OCD type, it's like, oh, I need to clean up. I shouldn't be sitting here. You know, you have that self-talk. What is your self-talk saying when you're not doing anything? You're not focused on anything. That default mode network, it takes over. It's your autopilot. What is your brain thinking about when it's thinking about nothing? And they become pathways, and it's hard to break out of them because those are the pathways that have been created, even though we have all these other pathways that haven't been discovered. We've created a pathway to this trauma or this event or this idea, and that's what we focus on. And the mushrooms, the heroic dose of mushrooms, as they term it, helps to clear other pathways and help you discover that there are other pathways, and to kind of demolish or tear down or not make those initial pathways the first choice all the time. Because you have ways of handling things, and you're like, why do I mean, next time I'm gonna do it this way. But then the next time come, you did the same fucking way you did it the last time. You know, it's like, damn, I said I was gonna do it this way this time. And you're just constantly doing it the same way over and over. And a heroic dose of mushrooms can help you break those type of patterns, help you break those pathways in your brain, essentially. And they say reprogram is a strong word.
Yeah, rewire.
Reprogram, recreate. But, you know, it does help to clear not even to clear, but to make you aware of other pathways. Like that energy can travel other places opposed to just that highway is accustomed to.
Right.
And so, and then it helps with self-regulation, right? Because once you discover there's other ways, it helps you regulate what you do. Because right now you on autopilot, you do the same shit over and over and over. Do you think this is your only option? This is the only way. You don't have another way to regulate yourself. And when you tap in, you know, to your inner being, you start to understand there are other ways I can regulate myself. I can control, you know, hypersexuality or this aspect or that aspect. And I know Osa, she does do guided trips,
Shout-
so to
shout out,
speak.
shout out.
Yes.
Guided
Got
shadow
it.
work.
Yes.
And so you talk about that a little bit more, how those types of, how the setting, because we don't want nobody to say, oh, I'm about to get a bunch of mushrooms and take them. Like, what is the setting? What is all of
whole
that?
process.
The process of that, because we're not promoting nobody just go to the dealer and buy a bunch of stuff and go home.
So I do want to say first that, taking psilocybin mushrooms is not for everybody. You can definitely access doing shadow work without using the tool of mushrooms. It is used as a tool though. So if you are, truly wanting to dive deep and break through those barriers and, in one setting, you could do that through mushroom. What I do, I hold sacred space, and I provide a ceremony, which is by taking, starting at 7 grams of mushrooms. You'll sit in complete darkness. You'll fast for 12 hours beforehand. So you want to make sure that your stomach is clear, but your body is at ease. So when the mushroom goes in, what it does is it awakens dormant cells within your body that hold information. In this process, it awakens it, and it brings up memories and things that you may hold on to. So I'll hold space with you, which will create, again, a sacred space to help you go deeper into your trip. And I'll just walk with you through it. A lot of times I could tap into my client. I could see what they see and help to enlighten them on what they see or what they're experiencing, and to help them go deeper if they are, so choose. Again, it's using the discernment. Sometimes, you may go deep. Sometimes they might stay in one space. Sometimes, it'll flash through and you'll be traveling in past lives. So everybody's experience is different. There's no cookie cutter way to do it. But it's definitely used as a tool to see yourself or to see parts of yourself that you have truly suppressed or that you don't know about at all.
That's what I tell people. It's a tool. It's just like meditation, like yoga, like breath work. It's just a tool that's in your toolbox. But like she said, it's definitely not for everybody.
What are the tools in that toolbox?
Well, breath work. One can do breath work and go into altered states of consciousness. Mm-hmm. One can go into altered states of consciousness through meditation, grounding, sun gazing work. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's different tools to reach a state of enlightenment.
Visualization as well, through meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Those are for me personally, those are like the physical tools. Then there's mental tools, right? So it's like, I haven't had no psychedelic shadow works, this and that, but I hadn't. Now that I look back, I hadn't had shadow works with myself. You know what I'm saying? So the mental tools that I used to shadow work myself was actual speaking to myself. So I will put a verses on a piece of paper. My rational thinking versus my irrational thinking. You know what I'm saying? Actually being honest with myself, because here's my rational thinking. And these are the results. Here's my irrational thinking, and here's the results. So then I go to my irrational belief system, to my rational, my healthy belief system and my unhealthy belief system. To actually identify my unhealthy belief system that's resulting into negative things that is not productive. Here is my healthy belief system that's actually productive. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listing all of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's in a very conscious way, right?
No, because I'm actually going into myself, being honest with myself. So I'm not speaking to nobody. I'm being honest with myself, and I'm writing this down. You know what I'm saying? My inner thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Actually deep into my
consider that
introspection.
Well, yeah, because when my research with shadow works, there's actually a method of journalism.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Where it's like you write down your dreams, you write down all your thoughts, and then you go back and look at those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll go throughout the day with random thoughts that just come out of nowhere. Write them down. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're tapping into your subconscious mind, because that random thought came from your subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? So now you actually want to explore, where did that spontaneous thought come from? We know it came from the subconscious mind, so it comes from your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? It comes from things that influence you around you, this and that. So your mind is a whole database. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff in your mind is being absorbed without you actually knowing. Your subconscious mind absorbs stuff. You know what I'm saying? Rather, if your conscious mind was even aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So then now your subconscious mind starts spitting stuff back out that it absorbed without you actually knowing it. So, you drop that down, you address that. Why is it actually coming out? You know? So now I come to a place is like now I read a book about art of thinking, art of thought. So start understanding my subconscious mind and my subconscious mind. So now I have the tools to actually address those thoughts. So now I'm making a list and I'm going over it. You know what I'm saying? Like he spoke about women and this and that. So I made a list about relationships. You know what I'm saying, with females. Like, okay, what do I like all about a woman? What don't I like all about a woman? You know what I'm saying? Then here goes another list. What all do I can give to a woman? What all did I drop the ball or did I fumble with a woman that I heard all their criticism about me? You know what I'm saying? Like I made a whole list of everything I heard about a woman criticize me. You know what I'm saying? And not to be biased, like, oh no, the only reason she said this because of this. No, you know what I'm saying? I'm having constructive, honest criticism. She said this for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And not to try to be combative with it with myself. Like they said it for a reason, so you have to be honest with yourself. Is this is what they seen in you, regardless of what you see in yourself? This is what that person see in you. So how do you correct it? You know what I'm saying? So now my journey, and this is like I'm probably about 27, 28 that I'm actually having these thoughts with myself. So now over the years, I see it start to evolve and be more productive. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like when I speak to a woman, you know what I'm saying? It's like I know, you know what I'm saying, exactly how they see me generally, you know what I'm saying? But then I have to go back, realize those are the women you chose to be around.
Yeah, that part.
Those are the women that you choose to be around, you know what I'm saying? So there has to be a non-biased assertion to other females. It's like now you going into a whole nother realm around different females, you know what I'm saying? So now I be conscious of what I present myself. So now I'm conscious of what I'm presenting myself, and now I'm taking in the criticism again, but I'm taking it as healthy criticism and not being confrontational or combative and whatnot. So now it's like, now I'm tapping into my behavior. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm learning what I actually project out in the world, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of me sitting there trying to project to be accepted, you know what I'm saying? Me trying to project, oh, I want to put this facade on because this is trending, this is what it is, that now I'm in a space that I'm more comfortable because I done tapped in who I'm actually am, and this is the only thing I'm going to present, you know, because that's the only time I'm going to have peace around myself and around others, is they're going to accept who I am internally. That
According to how you accept yourself, really.
Right, exactly. How I accept myself, I want everyone else to accept me how I accept myself.
And I wanted to ask you, did it change? Did your shadow work change what you were attracting? Like just by doing that work, did you automatically start attracting or manifesting new things or better things, or how did that
different
result?
type of women, you know, start, you know, befriending me, because I typically would deal with, I don't want to put a certain label on women, but the women I usually would deal with would be out there.
Promiscuous.
Right, they just out there.
Yeah.
So stepping into this type of work and just the spiritual journey alone has brought a different grade of women into my life, you know, who I'm looking at a different way. Like, I ain't no way I could come at her like this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm reading her energy. I'm seeing her spirit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, I was just telling a partner of mine, the next relationship that I get in, me and her's going to be friends before sex is even on the table. We're going to be friends first, you know what I'm saying?
And that's one thing I addressed with myself. I looked at all my relationships, right? We wasn't friends. Because post-relationship, could we be friends? Because, you know, when you have true friends, regardless if y'all get into it, y'all have your argument, this and that, that bond will prevail, you know. So I looked at my previous relationship, it was more based on, or the foundation was lust and intimacy without no friendship,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So when there's no intimacy or no lust or no affection, the relationship's out the window. So we started as friends, and then it built to intimacy and lust, or you know, whatever you want to call it. Even if that was minus, we still have the foundation of being friends. Like we could still say what's up. We could still speak to each other.
Right.
We could still
Call
do
each other,
things
how you
as
doing?
far as friends. It's just no intimacy there. There's no feeling in there. So you know, to understand the two. So I was like, I learned through all my relationships. It's like, you know, it's only maybe a couple females throughout my whole life that I established a friendship, and to this day, that we are still friends. Any of them, because the intimacy was gone, the companionship was gone. Oh, we can't be friends. I don't want to talk to you, and I don't this and that, this and that. I'm like,
We're
oh
not
wow,
friends. Like, we're not friends.
right, we ain't cool, because that's all the what it was based on. You know what I'm saying? And that was what I accepted. You know what I'm saying? Versus now, I'm not accepting that. Like, we have to be friends. We have to establish to be friends. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So where we have to demonstrate in different scenarios, different situations, that we are friends. You know what I'm saying? It's not, oh, every time that I come around, you're expecting intimacy, you're expecting companionship, this and that. What happened to just being friends? Like, we're doing something, it's a hobby or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't have to be on no lovey-dovey, this and that. It's going to come naturally. You know what I'm saying? If it's there versus forcing it. You know what I'm saying? And typically, I'll sit there and see, you know, men and women, they go straight past everything else, straight to the intimacy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that has to do with the sexual attraction. Once we jump into sex, so everything, every time that we're together after sex, it has to deal with intimacy, has to deal with companionship. Like, you know, me personally, like, I got to a point like, yeah, we can have sex. Okay. We have fun, this and that. Next day, how are we being friends? You know what I'm saying? It's 24 hours out the day.
We talk to each other.
You know what I'm saying? How long we sitting there going to have sex that, you know what I'm saying, when the sex over, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? How we interacting with each other?
I wanted to kind of go back into where you were speaking about your addiction and how you overcame addiction to opioids. Because of course, I'm sure a lot of people deal with that. What was it instantaneous? The cravings left, and then because you still even if you don't crave a drug, is a process, is a habit. You know, and it's like, this is what I do every day. I usually get up and I do this and I do that. So how did you break? Did it break the habit, or did it just break the desire? How did your shadow work contribute to your ability to overcome addiction?
Well, like I say, it started with the mushrooms, and by doing shadow work, I realized, you know, my relationship with cannabis, for example. My mother used to smoke crack, and the way I treated weed was almost the same. You know what I'm saying? I can't function without it. I'm trying to budget. Like, damn, how can I get some food, some gas in my car, and still get some weed? You know what I'm saying? I'm neglecting people, neglecting responsibilities, so it just made me, as far as weed is concerned, get to the point where, like, I start viewing myself like my mother. Like,
did you believe that weed was addiction?
No, I've never believed it was addictive. Never. You know what I'm saying? And even today, I don't look at it as bad, you know, because I understand it's plant medicine. I still let people come in my house and smoke cannabis. It's just something that I can't do anymore because it's become a distraction for me, and I'm trying to become my best version. And constantly smoking weed, blowing blunts all day, I can't reach the level that I'm trying to get to, which is ultimately, again, becoming my best version. So I have nothing against it, you know what I'm saying? Just for the path that I'm on, I had to leave it alone because it's distracting me from who I'm trying to be.
Yeah, I don't smoke cannabis, but I be curious. Everybody has a different experience with cannabis. You know, when you listen to a lot of people that are regular cannabis users, they want to push on their experience. They want to push on their beliefs about cannabis. Versus, I'm not a cannabis user, so I listen to everybody else's experience. It's just like, well, I heard a large group of people sitting there saying this, but then now I hear your version, you know, where that's contrary to everybody else's, you know, portrayal or promote how they promote.
It's a wonderful plant. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not taking that.
It's wonderful. You know what I'm saying? I love the plant. It's just something that I can't continue to do. And to go back to what you mentioned about the opioids.
The opioids, yeah.
It was strictly the mushrooms that got me off the opioids.
But did you discover why you were like into escapism? Because when you're talking about opioids, you kind of go into, you know,
that's
escapism.
What I was gonna say about,
you know, like, did you discover what you were trying to escape and then face that?
My dad was addicted to heroin before I was born, and a lot of people say codeine is liquid heroin is what people say. And I just, I was feeling like a junkie. I would be nodding out in the middle of conversation. I would just go into a nod. I'd be at a stoplight and nod out. I'd be at Coney Island and look down and got on mismatched shoes and shit like that. Like I just started feeling like a junkie, literally. And it started affecting my relationship with my girl that I had at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like it was destroying my life because I was so consumed with it. My whole Instagram was full of pints of lean, and it was so bad I didn't want to sell none. You know, I didn't want the money. I wanted to get high. My homies used to hit me up trying to buy it. I'd be like, nah, I'm straight. I don't want the money. I want the high. You know what I'm saying? And my first time doing mushrooms, it broke the habit. My very first time. 5 grams in silent darkness. You know, the mushrooms, they start talking to me. And they talk to me like a hood motherfucker in a way that I would, you know, understand it. And they basically told me, like, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? You out here drinking cough syrup? You some type of dope fiend or something? I'm gonna need you to get your shit together and leave that shit alone. And I was terrified.
Your inner voice started talking.
I mean, yeah, you could call it the inner voice, but, you know, the mushrooms in certain dosages, they will talk to you. In certain dosages, they will talk to you. Some people say it's their own inner voice. But you know, the mushrooms,
the spirit.
Yeah,
I watched a program, and it was a journalist. He was going into this. I forgot what country it is, but it was a tribe that actually used mushrooms to speak to the guys to be spiritual. And when you sit there and talk about, you know, it's talking to yourself, it's like he actually went and did the actual ritual. You know, they had the whole tent. It was like a whole ritual. How they went in, they went in the whole tent, and it was like his first time even dealing with a psychological plant. You know, I won't say drugs because they didn't treat it as a drug.
Right.
They treated it as a passageway to the higher spirits. So when he was actually going through, they filming it, and it was like, you know, he didn't have no self-control over himself, and he was actually, you know, having a shadow experience, you know what I'm saying? As I'm learning it now, he was actually having a shadow experience where they had a more controlled environment because they prep you for it. Because no matter how much they prepped him for it, he still wasn't ready because he never experienced it.
Yeah.
You know, so when you actually sit there and see him actually came out the tent in himself, he's still, you know what I'm saying, feeling the effects of it, and he couldn't actually take control of himself per se. But, you know, he talking about the experience of how it was actually soul searching, or it was actually going into his mental subconscious mind and bringing out all types of stuff that, you know, what we all talked about earlier, suppressed. You know, so he was sitting there talking about his experiences, like it was bringing up suppressed thoughts. You know, versus, you know, the tribe, they've been doing it all their life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the mushrooms, they say it's, you know, centuries old, and they actually say it's this type of heroic doses or macro doses that led to, you know, the building of pyramids and those geometric forms being downloaded, and that you will get downloads such as that, depending on, you know, the dosage and where you travel to, that you will get those alien type downloads, even though you may not understand or comprehend that you can reach those type of dimensions under those effects.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a high, you know, but I tell people it's not a high. This is not a high. You know what I'm saying?
And it's something that I wouldn't say, and we're about to wrap, but it's something that is not foreign, but in this form, it is new to the African American community. We are, you know, we're not pushing anything, but we want to inform of this possibility or ability to capitalize on something that can assist you in breaking down those barriers and helping you pass that PTSD, and using it in such a way. We as African Americans, we are so quick to be like, no, not knowing that this is something that's part of us and part of our culture and has been part of our lineage, right, from day one, that we've used, and that they've taken, made it something different. Now they regurgitate it back to us like it's something bad.
In our community, we'll do coke, we'll smoke crack, we'll drink our liver away. You know what I'm saying? But you mentioned a mushroom, something natural. Oh no, hell no.
Yes.
Hell, that's that white people shit.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? We scared of something.
I mean, you don't have to.
It's pretty much based on
You don't have to rely on it is an option for anxiety, depression, PTSD, all these types of things. You don't have to rely on a psychiatrist to give you drugs. It's really not going to break you through and help you understand why your brain is foggy or why you thinking or going this way that you're going. There's something that can really give you relief. And, you know, it's proven, scientifically proven, that heroic doses of mushrooms do assist with many mental health issues.
Yep,
Do your research. Do your
they
research.
cured me
Yeah,
from
do your
depression.
Depression. I mean, addiction.
Not treated me, cured me from
we
depression.
have a lot of L's in our community that we can start resolving if we just attempt to go higher and resolve some individual personal issues and do the shadow work as individuals. Osa, any closing remarks?
I mean, you know, you can utilize mushrooms ultimately just to know yourself. Again, it'll bring about that reflection. Mushrooms, again, is the very first organism that grew on the earth. So it holds, you know, the Akashic records of the universe. You know, everything that you need to know about the world outside of you and inside of you can be utilized with a mushroom. But the key with shadow work is self-awareness, introspection, and just sitting with self, knowing self, integrating your lower self, which is your shadow self, with your higher self, which is your light body, and just bringing the fullness of self. So, yeah, I think that's a good close.
Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap up. We thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We'll be back next week, of course, and. Have a good night, everybody. Good night and good day.
Peace.
Peace.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.